And if you have any question, we will provide the contact details at the very end of the presentation, just for you to make any questions or just to let us know any that may arise. Next one, Annette. So as I said, the first point, it is going to be to describe what is InDemand, what we call InDemand, what can you achieve by being part of the InDemand community, why we wanted to implement this new approach on how to do procurement from the demand side, and also including co-creation in this selection of solutions. The next one. Yeah, move the other one. So what is InDemand? With InDemand, what we tried, we developed a methodology that is demand-driven, comes directly from the demand, but also includes co-creation to better fit or to better develop solutions that really fit with the needs already identified. So as you can see on the image that is on your screen, the first step is working what we have called challengers. The challengers, it is the demand side. We are working with the healthcare sector, and here we work with healthcare organizations identifying, working with professionals, which are the main needs in their daily work or a strategic approach. So basically, the first step is get in touch with the demand just to know which are the needs. Once we have the need, we work with the funder. It has to be any organization that usually funds innovation. In our case, we are working with regional development agencies. And what we do is just to move those needs to the funder, just to let them know which have to be the topics of the call. So the funder prepares a call for SMEs based on those needs and is asking the companies to provide solutions that would be able to match the needs already identified. Once the call is launched and we have an evaluation, there is this third phase that we are working with what we have called supporters. Usually supporters are those that provide business support to the companies. But we don't only work with the supporter. As you can say, there are like two different areas. We also work with the challenger on the co-creation phase. So for the third phase, on one hand, the companies will be getting some business support, but at the same time, they will be co-creating their solution with the professionals. So they will be able just to get feedback firsthand and develop the solution in the living labs. The important thing here on the right-hand side is which are the roles that we are working with, or which are the roles that are involved in InDemand. As I said, first thing is a challenger. It's the organization, in our case, is a healthcare organization that is going to identify which are the needs. Also, we have the funder that has to be organization that provides funds mainly for innovation. The third role is the solver. The solver is the SME that is selected after the call is launched and the evaluation has gone through. And the fourth role is the supporter, and is the organization that provides business support to the company. So those, as Annette will explain later on, in our call, we would like that every proposal had these three roles identified: the challenger, the funder, and the supporter. If you can move the next one. Yeah. So as I said, we are applying this to the healthcare sector. We are only working on digital health solutions. And our aim is to work with 24 companies. We are going to launch 2 interactions. It's like 2 calls in every region, 2 calls in Murcia, 2 calls in Oulu, Finland, and 2 calls in Paris. Gathering like 4 solutions in each call. So that is, as a whole, 24 companies. We have already gone through like the first interaction. We have already done the selection in the 3 regions, the selection of the needs. We have already launched the call in the 3 regions. And we are now in the phase of the evaluation in Paris and have already done the evaluation in the other two regions. And we are now starting the implementation of the third phase in the different regions. But this will be explained further on with my colleague. Okay. Yeah. So these are the roles and these are the different partners that take part in InDemand. As a challenger, we have a hospital in Oulu, a procurer organization in France, and the regional healthcare organization in Murcia. As a funder, we have the regional, it's not exactly the developing agency, but the organization that is dealing with the regional funds in Oulu, Finland. We also have the Paris Region Enterprises in Paris, and we have the regional development agency in As a supporter, we count with Business Oulu. We also count with Medicine, it's an organization in Paris. And we have, we count with Big Biomed, that is a cluster that is based in Murcia. And we also have the collaboration of Erin, Annette, that is coordinating all the InDemand community, but also with the University of Oulu, because from the methodological point of view, we really need to, we really want to know what we are doing right and what we can improve. So this is the partnership, and I have just described like a general overview on how we do implementation. And now I'm going to pass the floor to my colleague that will describe like each phase with a little more detail.
Yeah, so I think it's my turn. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Good morning, everyone. My name is Louis Potel. I'm European Project Manager, and so I'm working for RESA, which is a public central purchasing body specialized on the healthcare sector in France. And so we are leading the phase one of the InDemand concept, which is the need identification, and we call it call for challenge. So I think I have 10 minutes to present you how we have organized the collection and the definition of the challenge prior to the launch of the call for tender, for the call for solver, where we are going to look for one company to address the different challenge we select. So the call for challenge, the objective of the call for challenge is to identify and define unmet needs in healthcare organization, or at least it is the sector we are working on InDemand. This phase is highly important because it is the first phase, and of course the challenge will be the basis for the rest of the whole InDemand concept and InDemand model. So it's really important, and this first phase is one of the most important in the process. In order to define the challenge in one or several hospitals, several steps have to be followed. We have exactly 5 steps plus the step 0, which is the preparation. So I'm going to go through all of these steps to give you example and to explain you how you reach the definition of the challenge. Can I have them? Okay, maybe I can move it by myself. Okay, so the step 0. The preparation before the call for challenge. What is the preparation? So what you have to do and what is the objective of the preparation is to be ready, of course, for the call for challenge. So what you will have to do is to do the appointment of the executive team. The executive team will manage and support the process of the challenge identification. It will be mainly the role of a project manager inside of the healthcare organization, who will have the role and the task of following and monitoring all the call for challenge aspects and action. Then you have the definition of topic. So we have decided within the InDemand colleagues to have in the preparation steps the definition of topic. What are topics? Topics are the really large thematic in which the top management of the hospital want to be focused, because if you launch a call for challenge asking for your collaborator inside of the hospital to please explain and submit your challenge, your need, at the moment you receive many different type of proposal. So you have the possibility to let it open, but you have also the opportunity to define topic, so to restrain the scope of the call for challenge, and maybe to be sure to have challenge which are in line with your actual strategy inside of your hospital. And then the other most important point is the identification of entrepreneurs. So we are asking the top management of the hospital to identify collaborators, so healthcare professionals inside of their organization who are ready and who have the capacity to define real challenge and real needs, real actual need of the hospital, but also to identify collaborator and healthcare professional who can be really involved in such R&D and co-creation process, as the InDemand is one. So once you have defined the topic and the entrepreneur, you are moving to the step 1. Next slide, please, which is the recruitment. So it's not because you have identified the entrepreneurs and the recruitment is done. So once you have the list, or once the executive team has received the list from the top management of the potential collaborator who might be able to submit challenge and to submit challenge to the call for tender, and who have identified people who have time to be involved in such model, the objective is to go in front of them and to explain them the InDemand model, InDemand concept, because it's not an easy concept, it's not an easy process. It's something new, and there is a lot of parameters which need to be understood before being involved in it. So once you have the list of the entrepreneur, identify the objective, and what we have done is the organization of workshop, physical meeting to go and to meet this identified entrepreneur, to explain them in detail the InDemand concept, the InDemand model, but more especially to explain them how the call for challenge will be conducted. And it will also give them the opportunity to ask you questions, and you will be able to directly answer this question, and also to see who are the entrepreneurs who will be really involved in such a model. So the key consideration of this step 1, before we move maybe for step 2, of course, the entrepreneur should be nominated on a voluntary basis. So it's not because they have been identified by the top management that you need to make them the obligation to be involved in the model. They need to be volunteer. You need at least to identify 3 entrepreneurs per topic, and the regional executive team should be continually available for these entrepreneurs, because we know that healthcare professionals are really busy, and if you want to make this concept a success, you need to really have people who are really involved in such process. So once you have explained the InDemand concept and process to the entrepreneur, the next step is, of course, the call for challenge. So the objective of the call for challenge is basically to collect the need and the challenge from the healthcare professionals who are working in the hospital. So the identified entrepreneurs are invited to fill in a specific online questionnaire to submit the most critical need challenge they have at the moment in their hospital. So we have created, of course, at each step we have created several tools which will be available, like for example the questionnaire for the calls for challenge, which is composed by 11 sections, where the entrepreneurs are invited to express and to fill in their needs by answering questions like the name of the challenge, the definition of the challenge, functional requirements, what can be the impact if the challenge is solved by an innovative solution. So all of these tools will be available. How we have done this call for challenge, we have used, depending on the region, we have used either a Google Doc, classic Google questionnaire, or an online platform if you have it available. So you invite the identified entrepreneur to go online and to complete the questionnaire to submit their needs. What are the key considerations of this critical step in the phase one is a continual interaction with the entrepreneur. Once again, you have to be available for them, and especially the executive team and the project manager, to support them in the submission of their challenge. The call for challenge can be open to a whole region or restricted to a short number of healthcare organizations. For example, in Paris, for this first iteration, we have decided to work with only one pilot hospital to test the InDemand model, but for the next iteration, we plan to open it, and so to have a call for challenge open for all the hospitals in the Paris region. So any hospital will be able, or any healthcare professional working in the hospital will be able, we will have the possibility to submit a challenge to the call for challenge. And of course, you need to have the call for challenge open for limited period of time. We had around 1 month in the different region. So once the call for challenge is ended, you have received several submission and several challenge from different entrepreneurs, from different healthcare professionals from the hospital. And so what you have to do is to evaluate and decide which are the challenges which will be selected, because of course you cannot work on 10, 15 challenges at the same time. So in the InDemand model, we have decided to limit the number of challenges at 4 challenges maximum per region and per iteration. So as we had received around 10 challenges minimum in each region, we had the necessity to select which are, let's say, the most important challenge to be selected for the InDemand model. So for this, we have defined a complete evaluation process and methodology and criteria. So everything will be, of course, available, like the evaluator guide, the evaluation table, which is an Excel table, easy to fill in by the different experts involved in your evaluation committee. And of course, we have different evaluation criteria. First, the eligibility criteria, so availability, commitment, no double financing. And we have also the selection criteria, which is expected impact, feasibility, priority, scalability, and potential market. You have a percentage with each criteria. It's because the different experts appointed in the evaluation committee have to score each criteria for each challenge, and then we apply the percentage, and so you obtain a ranking based on the average of the evaluation from the different experts involved. Of course, the evaluation committee is composed by different type of expertise, and we have decided to have at least a representative from the top management of the hospital, an IT expert from the hospital as well, clinical expert from the hospital, innovation expert from the hospital as well, but also market and innovation expert from the supporter, and a public policy expert from the founder. So with all these different expertise, normally you should be able to select which are the best challenge, or at least which are the one who will have a greater impact if they are solved by a new innovative solution developed within the InDemand concept. So the key consideration is to have a deep assessment of the eligibility criteria prior the assessment of the selection criteria. For example, if you receive a challenge from an healthcare professional, and if you realize that this challenge receive already public financing from another project to work on this thematic, of course, this challenge will be rejected automatically. So do not make mistakes first in the eligibility criteria before going to the selection criteria. 4 challenge maximum per region, as I said, And also we have this evaluation committee, which is divided in two phases. So the different experts first evaluate and score each challenge individually, which makes the average ranking. And then you have the physical meeting with all these experts. And so you discuss and you give the opportunity to the different experts to express their point of view based on their expertise. And after this physical meeting, you can do the final decision of the 4 challenges which are selected in the region. Once you have the step 4 ended and selected your different challenge, you go for the step 4, which is communication of the results, because as explained by Miriam before, then you have to launch a call for solvers. So you have to launch an online consultation where you ask companies who are already working on prototype, on innovative solution to address the different challenge, to submit a proposal. But this call for solver is launched not by the challenger, so not by the hospital, but by the founder. So you have to communicate the result of the call for challenge. And so the definition, the detailed definition of the different challenge to the founder of your regional ecosystem. To do this, we have again developed and create a specific form to transfer information from the challenger to the founder. So basically, it's just a communication of the result of the call for challenge to the founder to give him the possibility to launch the call for solver. Once you have communicated everything, the work in this phase 1, which is the call for challenge, is almost ended, let's say, because as we are saying since the beginning, this InDemand model is a new model. So we are still trying to improving it by the different implementation we are doing in the different regions. So the step 5 is the assessment, because of course there is always something to improve based on the lesson learned and on the implementation of the first version of the model. So it's really important, and I hope the Mirror region who will use the InDemand model will also communicate the different lesson learned and feedback they receive from the ground, and so it will help us to improve again and again this I think really interesting co-creation process, who should bring a lot of innovative solution and improve the solution used in the healthcare organization in Europe. This is it for the phase 1 call for challenge. I don't know if the questions are at the end of the whole webinar or right now.
Yeah, the idea is to leave the questions to the very end.
Okay, no worries. Okay.
Then we move into the second phase. This is Miriam again. Unfortunately, Rafa was not able to join due to technical problems. So I'm just going to do the presentation of the second phase. That really consists on, once we have identified the important needs and we have prioritized them, we will work with the funder just to launch a call for companies. So basically, the main goal is to get all the needs that we have identified in the phase 2 and launch a call just to find the companies that are going to be best or more suitable to develop a solution aimed to that need, but also to set the grounds for the co-creation phase, that is the third phase. So those are really the main objectives of this second phase. Yeah. So basically, within the second phase, we have 4 different steps. One hand, as all the different phases, we have like a preparation phase that deals mainly with administrative work and all the paperwork. Then we launch the call, so that's the second step. Once we have already launched the call, the third step is when the deadline is over, we'll do the evaluation, and finally is the negotiation with the selected companies and also to do the preparation to sign the sub-grant agreement. So for the first phase that we have named preparation, basically we have to do all the paperwork, and you have to prepare all the framework for the call. Basically, it's like you have to set which is going to be the eligibility criteria for the applicant, but also the award criteria, and also all to define the amount of the grants, and also how the payments are going to be done, and also prepare all the templates for the call. So as I said, the preparation, it is mainly paperwork, but it's really important because the clearer you have all the documents, the better for the company and the easier for them to understand which is our objective. The aim of InDemand is we are preparing all this paperwork, we are preparing all the methodology, so for all the regions being part of the InDemand community, we just hand over all the documentation and you can tailor them to your region. So if we move, this is basically how long, in red was how long it took us to do that. So once we have all the paperwork, we have to take the needs that have been identified by the different stakeholders, by the challengers, and we have to put them in our call. So basically, is we included the needs in the call and we launched the call. As this was funded by Horizon 2020, we had to publish it on the participants portal and also on the project website and also on the domestic official journal. This is mainly all the requirements on publicity that may any region, country, or the European Commission have. So we have to fulfill all those requirements. But also just to do the dissemination of the call, this is really important to do the dissemination as wide as possible. So if you just move, look up, yeah, because this, so basically what happened for us is because this was a Horizon 2020, the period that the call has to be open, it is 3 months, but that really depends on the framework that you are going to launch the call in. The next slide. So the third step is the evaluation. Once the period, these 3 months, in our case, when the 3 months were over and the deadline was closed, you have to start preparing the evaluation. So the first step is to doing the eligibility check. Then we have to transfer like all the evaluation for assessment. We have to transfer all the proposals to the evaluation committee. And what we have done is we have done like a twofold. On one hand, there was an online review from the members of the evaluation committee, and then all members of the evaluation committee sat together and then reached an agreement on the selection of the best proposals received. And finally, there is one company selected. In our case, we had 4 challenges in Murcia and Oulu and 3 challenges in Paris. And so we have selected only 1 company per challenge. And once the companies are selected, you have to publish all the results on the website. But also we send like a personal email just to communicate both. I mean, we have communicated whether they've been selected, but also if they have not been selected, and also the reasons why they were not selected. Because one thing we learned was that companies that have not been selected usually ask for feedback to improve, and sometimes because they don't understand why they haven't been selected. So this is something that we have paid special attention to. So once the evaluation is done, we move into the 4th step, that is mainly the negotiation with the companies. When there's maybe a point that is not clear, or we have done the negotiation, and also to manage all the signature of the sub-grant agreement, leaving quite clear that we needed like the acceptance, and all the bureaucratic paperwork sign and submit to the funder. The next slide. So basically, so far, which are the results that we have achieved? As I said, we have already launched the 3 calls, the 3 regions. We closed the last one, Paris, last Friday. So as a whole, we have received 56 proposals for 11 challenges. So we have received nearly 5 proposals per challenges as an average. So I mean, we think it was like a good number just to be able to do a selection of the best proposals. We have received proposals not only for the regions that have defined the challenges, but also from all over Europe. And also we have requested like a confirmation that they all, I mean, we just make sure that they were going to be able to develop a solution meeting the need. Sometimes one thing is what they write, and the other thing is just to make sure that they are going to be able to fulfill all the objectives. So, I mean, we are really happy with the results achieved so far. And as I said, we are now starting to work on the 3rd phase. If you, Annette, next one. Yeah, so now what we are going to be working on is just to get the lessons learned. As I said, the last call finished just last Friday. So now all the 3 regions have gone through the 2nd phase. We will just get the assessment of which are the lessons learned, what do we have to improve, the 2nd interaction, and also it's not only what we have done wrong, but also what we have done right, and we have to start working on the 2nd call of proposals. And this is really all from the 2nd phase. We have already handed over all the documentation to the responsibles of the phase 3, and they are now starting to work on the co-creation and the business support phase. So I leave the floor to Tala Ivonen, because they are Business Oulu. They are leading this 3rd phase.
Okay, thank you, Miriam. So yes, I'm Salla Hirvonen from Business Oulu, Finland, and we are the leaders of the work package 5, co-creation and business support part of this project. And as a supporter, we have 3 goals in this project. Firstly, we want to ensure that the co-creation between hospitals and companies runs smoothly. Secondly, we offer companies business support and ensure that the commercialization strategy is ready by the end of the co-creation period. And thirdly, we also follow the co-creation process and make improvement suggestions to the InDemand co-creation model. And the same, TIC Biomed and Medicine are doing the same thing in their regions. And here in this slide, you can see our co-creation and business support approach, what happens and when it happens. So co-creation and business support, they are one entity in this project towards companies. We haven't split the work packages into 2 separate packages, and the roles are following. Hospitals have collected the challenges, and supporters like Business Oulu have had a strong role in coordination preliminary work that actual co-creation can start with the companies. Preliminary work has also included participation into the SMS selection process. So there has been quite a lot of preliminary work. And yeah, here you can see what happens in this business support approach phase. There will be a kick-off meeting firstly, and then we will meet face-to-face or online with companies and business supporters and hospital staff. And at the end, we will have a final event. And sorry, could you go back? So similar time frame will be also in Paris and Murcia. And the deliverable for companies is a commercialization strategy. And in our opinion, the commercialization strategy supports very well co-creation because it makes companies to think timetables and commercialization and regulatory affairs besides the technical development of their products. So we want to tailor the business support depending on the case, what the company needs. And after first face-to-face meeting, we know more what they want, what their needs are regarding funding or exhibitions, etc. Next slide, please. So far, we have created a digital cloud-based environment where all partners can follow the co-creation work. It includes also a co-creation work plan. And we have also created business support materials, a startup guide for digital health SMEs. We are using lean startup methodology in this guide. And as I mentioned earlier, the deliverable is commercialization strategy. And we have also a template for that. Next slide, please. And here is the content of the SME guide for SMEs. We have created it together with our partners from Murcia and Paris. And in this guide, we share basic tools to develop new business ideas according to lean startup methods. And we have divided the guide into different sections: business modeling, access to markets, funding, and co-creation. And depending on the needs of companies, they can focus on certain sections in this guide. And we think it's especially important for companies to read the co-creation part to get advices for the co-creation process. Next slide. So the deliverable is go-to-market strategy. And here is the content of the go-to-market plan. It's a preferred than a marketing plan. Go-to-market plan concerns a new product or a new market. And it is especially important to answer what are the 3 biggest challenges the company will solve, or how the product benefits customers, in this case hospitals. And yeah, here's many parts what the go-to-market plan includes, so you can read it from there. So there's quite a lot to address for companies, but some of them are very used to do this and use the lean startup methodology. So this is all from my part. Thank you.
Thanks, Salla. And now we are getting to the InDemand community. So what we mean by this community and how we will work with this community. This is Annette Rusanov speaking from Erin. Erin will be responsible for managing, animating this community. So why bother? So why should you apply for this call, and what are the benefits that you can get out of it. We will disseminate all this know-how that you heard of, so how to identify the challenges, how to work with the funders, and how to provide business support to the companies. We take note of all these practices, good practices and lessons learned that we will kind of inherit to you. Why is it good for you? Because you get first-hand experience, so you save time, energy and money on piloting. We will organize technical webinars and training sessions with you, so webinars online and one face-to-face training session in Brussels in 2019. I will show you the timeline. To this training session, we will reimburse 3 people from these 12 selected regions. The 3 people will represent the challengers, the funders, and the supporters. We will also provide personalized support for the uptake of this in-demand model. This personalized support will be like a help desk provided by Ellen and myself from Erin. And what you will use this knowledge for is to use your regional funds more efficiently. So it can be your ERDF, ASIF funds, or any other regional local funds. You can give the leading role to the healthcare professionals. This is how it will be demand driven. Hence, the digital solutions will gather higher success rate. So what you can get from us is not direct funds, not direct euros, but knowledge how to better use your euros back at home. The call is now open, as you know. It will be open till the 31st of August. You can apply online. Who can apply? We insist on a regional consortium of these 3 roles that we already mentioned: challenger, funder, and the supporter. You can fill in the application form in English. We can already give you a hint about the evaluation criteria, which will be representativeness, commitment, expectation, and the regional impact. It's no surprise because these are the kind of chapters, the main heads of the application form. And here is the timeline how we will work with the InDemand community. So 31st of August is the deadline, as I said. We will take more or less like 2 weeks to evaluate the proposals. Then by end of September, we will have the first kickoff webinar with those 12 selected regions. Then we will still have another follow-up webinar in spring 2019. Then the face-to-face physical training session in Brussels in September 2019, followed by another webinar. And then, of course, you will be invited to the final conference of the project in June 2020. Let's say we haven't planned the final conference yet, of course, since we are very busy with the actual work. So, and during the whole duration of the project, you will have this continuous personalized support, this help desk from first hand from Erin, and then from the 3 piloting regions as well. So with this, I finish the presentation, the row of presentations that you have received from us today. Here are my coordinates, as directly I will be responsible for this community. But of course, I imagine that you will be later on in contact with Salah, Louis, Raphael, and Miriam as well from TICPLNet. So now I will open the floor to questions. Who would like to start the questions? Please don't forget to unmute your mic when you are speaking. Pardon me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is speaking?
Sonia from Aarhus, Denmark.
Sonia. Hi, Sonia.
Hi. I have a question. As the project was applied, we sent our application to be a mirror region.
Yes.
Yes, it was together also with our region from central Denmark.
Yes.
What now is it? We must do the same again, or have contact to our region and to also to funder or supporter, or what is what do we have to do now? Because it's from beginning again.
Yes, you as a kind of candidate region, because you submitted your interest when we were writing the application, you are right. But this call for community members applies to everyone. So even if you submitted your letter of intent back last year in spring, you will have to apply.
Yes,
again.
I know, but we have to apply the three parties.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, fine. I have not another question yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to clarify, Sonia, you have to apply the three of them in one unique candidature. This is what makes difference to. I mean, at the very beginning of the project, as Annette explained, we had letter of intent from some regions, but we didn't ask them to show that the three roles were together. With this candidature, with this application, the three of you have to submit the proposal together.
It's together, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
And also in the application now, I don't know if you took a look at it, it asks for more detailed commitment and reference to past projects, etc. Are there any further questions?
Yeah. Just one thing, Annette, is just to make it easier, because we are using Google questionnaire, and sometimes it is not that easy to know which is the information we are asking. You have to go through the whole questionnaire. So what we have done, and you can find that on our website, is that there is a PDF with all the questions that are included in the questionnaire. So you can share that with your potential partners for this candidature quite easily, instead of sharing like the questionnaire.
Oh yes, fine.
Yeah.
I can share. Yeah, if you find that, just let us know. We will send them. We will send the document by email, but it's just to make it easier.
I will share it with you now. The screen.
I can't see anything, Annette. I think it might be easier just to...
Yes, I'm sharing it now. This is why.
Yeah, but I can't see anything. I'm still on the last slide of the presentation.
Oh, yes, I think it's on its way.
Yes, it's on.
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So this is the application form. Of course, the contact details, description of the regional consortium. So the 3 roles, but here just a kind of introduction. What is new compared to the letter of intent is a previous experience in challenge identification, because that we didn't ask before. Funder. This is also new, how your smart specialization strategy priorities support your participation. Which funds you are going to use. Commitment to use own funds. Experience in business supports. And this is one of the also the criteria of the evaluation, what you want to achieve, some reference to collaboration before, and any other interest.
Has every party to sign the application?
Pardon me?
And if every partner has to sign the application before we are sending it?
Well, to make it easier, Sonia, what we are asking is we provide one section where you can attach one file, one PDF, and that's the one that has to go signed. So it's not really the application, but you have to attach a PDF from the funder, from the challenger, and from the supporter that you will attach to the application form.
Fine.
Are there any questions still concerning the application form?
Yes, Annette, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Hello, this is Paula from FBK. I'm sorry I joined you late because I had some connection problems. I want to make, I have a question on the profile of the different actors. It is clear to me that the profiles are already defined: challenger, founder, and supporter. But in terms of the possible involvement of my organization, FBK is a research center. So as an actor, we do not fit exactly in the description of either the challenger, the founder, or supporter. So I was wondering if there could be another type of involvement from other entities, such as the research center, or if we could be involved in support of either a challenger or founder, or informal involvement.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Informal. Yeah.
No, I think. Well, I understand that the profile are already defined. So, but the thing is that as an organization, we do work a lot with healthcare providers and other public funders. So we do have already a certain experience with them.
So my question, this is Miriam, Paola, nice
Yes.
to meet you. My question is, how do you see yourself? Because I mean, we have defined different roles.
Yeah.
So One is the organization that is going to identify the needs. Then there is another organization that is going to manage the call, because they have a like direct link with they manage in the fund. And then there is another organization that is mainly working directly with the support, with the business support company. So how do you see yourself? I mean,
well, maybe
I mean, it's not individually, like in the whole, like in-demand approach. How do you see yourself? Or I don't know, maybe we can discuss that like in a one-on-one discussion. But it's just basically, I mean, I suggest that we can set a call to get in touch with Annette. We can set a call and we can discuss your role. But basically, it's like my question is, where do you see yourself?
Yeah,
I don't really know.
It was just, I understand that it's a bit unclear. I was wondering maybe as in support of one of these actors. I don't know if we can already envisage a coordinating role of this of me acting as the leader of this consortium, so guiding the three actors. Maybe something like this, but it was just to understand if there is some flexibility in the profiles. But I see that and understand it's already well defined. So
I guess so. Well, it's a kind of out of the box question. You should have, I think, the mandate from one of these actors whom you coordinate. And if I am not wrong, then Emiliano Cora contacted you already, because I informed him. So he works for the Brussels office of Trentino.
Yes,
and I informed him about your interest, because them as a regional administration, they also flagged up interest, and I said, well, you should perhaps talk to each other. So I think the best would be to discuss with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think he contacted my my boss actually, but of course we can set a call and discuss it with him.
But because I think, Miriam, if you agree, I think that you should have the mandate from one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but I say that, I mean, it might be interesting just to have an individual call, just to work out how where do you see and whether there are any opportunities. But yeah, I mean, of course, if you have the mandate from any of the so-called roles. I think of course. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Yes, there is. This is Wouter Speck from the region East Netherlands.
Hi, Wouter.
First of all, thanks for the very clarifying presentation. It's all clear to me. There's one question remaining. So we are a regional development agency. We fund research and innovation. We have several business clusters who are interested in eHealth. But a challenger, that's the interesting one. We have several hospitals, including a university medical center. What would be your advice to take one of those hospitals or healthcare providers, or take a group? What would be your suggestion there? Because I don't want to leave a hospital or another one out, and they can of course be part of the work later on, but in the consortium from East Netherlands. What is your advice on the challenging organization?
We will leave that for you.
Of course, I can answer this question, and I think we had almost the same problem, maybe not with the same perimeter, but the same issue in France, because as I said, I'm working for RESA, so we are a central purchasing body. So we are not an hospital. I'm not working for an hospital, but we are providing services for hospital in the whole of France. But this project is a regional project. So for this first iteration, we had to choose if we want to work with one, several hospitals, or all the hospitals of the Paris region. Sure. To take our decision, first, of course, we have done a short list of our members in Paris region just to know first which are the hospital, who are the most involved regarding innovation in the healthcare sector. And after having done this shortlist, we have contacted the top management of these different hospitals to ask them first to present them the InDemand model, and then to ask them if they're interested to participate. Because I'm sure all hospitals want to be involved in innovation. I'm sure all of the hospitals have challenge to express, and the InDemand model can suit with their actual needs. But as I said during the presentation, people working on the hospital are really busy. The healthcare professionals are really busy. They're involved in so many projects at the same time. So I think the advice would be to, and as you don't have so many hospitals, apparently 7 hospitals, it's a great number, but it's not like 100 hospitals. So I think it could be good just to maybe give this presentation of the InDemand model to the top management of these different hospitals, and just ask them if they are interested to participate or not. Because as you said, I think it's not good if you only go with one hospital without asking the other one. And on the other hand, it's maybe not good to oblige all the hospital to be involved in it. So making like a presentation, one or several presentation, if all representatives from the 7 hospitals cannot be available the same day, I think it's more a voluntary basis, and asking them directly if they want to be involved might be the best option. Because if you have one hospital, you can of course do the process. If you have 7 hospitals, it's the same thing. As I said, the call for challenge, you have the step with the evaluation committee to select the best challenge. So if you have one hospital involved, and if only one want to be involved, the call for challenge will be only open for the entrepreneur identified inside of this hospital. So you will maybe receive 10 challenge from one hospital, and you will have to select, of course, following the evaluation process and criteria, to select 1, 2, 3, 4 challenge from one hospital. But if you have 7 hospitals involved, you will maybe receive, I don't know, 40, 50 challenge for your call for challenge from different type of hospital, and then the evaluation committee will decide and select which are the most important and the most interesting challenge, not depending on the hospital, but really depending on the challenge itself. So after the evaluation committee, you will really know which are the hospital who will be involved in the InDemand model. But for the call for challenge, and only for the call for challenge, I think you should make it on a voluntary basis, and ask them if they want to participate. If they want to participate, the entrepreneur from the hospital will have access to the call for challenge, online call for challenge.
Okay, thanks very much.
If I may jump in, just to stress what Louis has just said. I think the most important thing is that the management has to be involved in this, because it is not only the first step of the need identification, but then on the third phase, professionals are going to be working with companies. So basically, it's like the top management has to be interested and has to support the professionals working with the companies. So that's one point. I mean, get the top management involved. Then for the model, in InDemand, we have the 3 models. Like for Murcia, we have involved the regional healthcare system. It's like all hospitals in the region of Murcia are taking part. But for example, in Paris, they have started with 3 hospitals, and they will enlarge that figure for the second interaction. And in Oulu, it is only 1 hospital participating. So it's really, I mean, there's like a wide, a lot of opportunities, a lot of ways that you can get involved in the healthcare organization. But I think one important point is just to get like top management into the initiative.
Okay,
Yeah, I really want to insist on this point, and I will give you an example of with the Paris region after the first iteration. Yes, it's really, really important to involve the top management. First, you have to be sure that the top management, after the presentation, fully understand what will be needed from his hospital and from his collaborator inside of his hospital. If the hospital and if the top management is not really interested or is not fully involved, I think it's not good to continue maybe with this hospital in a first step. Maybe after a first iteration in your region, they will see the result, and so they will be really interesting. But you really need to have involved, at least for the first try, a real tractor. I mean, real organization with top management who want to be fully involved in it. And then, when you will receive, after discussion with the top management, and we arrive again on the step 0, step 1 of the call for challenge process, it's the identification of the intrapreneur. Same thing here. After, when you will do the selection of the challenge, you have to be sure that the intrapreneur who has submitted a challenge is fully involved and want to be really involved in such process, because it's not just submitting a challenge and then, okay, if I'm selected, I will see what I will do. No, if you are selected after this, you have the call for server, we find a company, and you have to work with this company on the co-creation process during at least 6 months. For example, one of the challenges we had received and selected in the Paris region, I discovered later on that the person who have submitted the challenge, yes, her boss asked her to submit a challenge because the top management said you have to submit a challenge, and at the end we have realized that she cannot be really involved in a co-creation process. So that's why the call for challenge and the identification of the stakeholder is really, really important, because it will have an impact on the whole process. And if you have selected a challenge with a leader of the challenge who is not available for a co-creation process, you will have a lot of issue to manage once you will have detected the company, because the company submits an application because we offer something on the other side. And if you are not able at the end to provide time to work on the co-creation from the medical side, it will be a failure of the process and of the model. So yes, involvement of the stakeholder, and especially from the healthcare sector, is really important and crucial. And you need to have the ability to assess this potential involvement when you are going to present the model first to the top management in a physical meeting or online meeting. Only during the workshop with the identify entrepreneur, you have to be sure to identify the one who can be really involved and interesting.
Thanks very much, Louis. Do we have any other question?
Hi, hello, it's Eva Gabriela from Locke region.
Hi, Eva.
Well, if I understood you correctly, so the challenger is the healthcare provider. So it could be either a group of hospitals or one hospital that we are cooperating on a daily basis, right?
Exactly.
Then we are the regional authority, so we will probably fit into the description of the funder. Since we have a department dealing with healthcare and health support within the structures of the office. So I think that we will have to work closely with them. And I was wondering if with this application, we should also invite maybe the medical university of Łódź, because they are really active, and they're running a hospital, like academic hospital. So we were thinking about this kind of cooperation, and they are also doing this kind of support for startups and SMEs in relation to health services basically. So do you think it's a good idea to also incorporate the academic sector in that application, or what is your experience in that matter?
So if my understanding is correct, you would involve them as supporter because you have already the challenger and the funder.
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about that because they are running this Center for Innovation, and they are supporting startups and basically medical sector startups. So we were thinking about them in relation to supporter because they also have this experience of working with business. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be eligible. What are your thoughts, Salah and Miriam?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah.
I think it is eligible. Basically, what I said is we don't really restrict the typology of organizations that can become or can be defined as one role, but basically it's like which are the organizations that are able to do something. So it's like it could be like any profile, let's say, and as you have described it, I think it's fully eligible from my point of view, because they are able to deliver the activities that are defined in the InDemand model. So yes, I mean, from my point of view, it is.
Exactly. So it's not what we thought of, because originally we thought of some intermediary cluster or PN or something. But as you say, they are doing the service. So then why not?
Yeah.
Well, the center itself at the medical university are also implementing the eHealth programs. So I think they are well equipped and experienced in that matter. And coming back to the roles of the parties. It's really interesting what you said, because we were before the webinar. Thank you for clarification. I was wondering if we, as a regional body, fit more in the challenger role or the founder role. So, but we will have to speak with different departments in our structure and also with the hospitals that we are cooperating with, and then decide what would be best. Because I think we are slightly fitting both of the definitions as the region.
Okay, let's say something. I mean, what we have in mind are 3 different organizations doing the implementation, but it really can happen. Let's say a regional development agency that is already providing business support to the companies. So maybe the regional development agency is going to be funder and supporter at the same time. So as you describe it, maybe you can be challenger and also the supporter. But the only thing is you really have to have the capacity to deliver both services. So it's like, it doesn't mean that you have to have 3 roles or 3 organizations in your region. It's like you need to have enough organizations to be able to deliver all the activities that are defined in InDemand.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's much clearer now. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
I have to go in a moment, but I have a short question.
Yes.
But also from me, thank you for the presentation and the discussion. But you are talking about hospitals all the time, but the challenges could also be nursing homes, couldn't it?
Yeah, healthcare provider. So yeah, why not?
Okay, fine. It was my only question. So thank you for now, because I have to go now.
Louis and Miriam, just to have to give them the floor as well. What are your views?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to really extend this, I think the InDemand model can be used in any other sector, like I don't know, not especially on the healthcare sector. So of course, I think I don't have the answer of the scope of the InDemand project by itself because it's financed by the European Commission, so you have to respect what we have said at the beginning. So I know it's on the healthcare sector, but I'm sure if you want to extend this co-creation model to any other sector, it will be also possible. So of course, nursing home can also be a challenger, I think.
And also a municipality.
I think a municipality. I don't know if it's in the scope of the demand for the mirror region. So to apply to be a mirror region, maybe it's an obligation to be in the healthcare sector. But I'm sure we can use this model for on any other sector. So yes, as you said.
Thank you.
Miriam, would you like to add something quickly?
No, I mean, not on my side. I hope that it was clear for everyone, but just Annette's contact details were at the end of the presentation. And if you need any further clarification, because I know, I mean, when it comes to healthcare, it is different at municipality level, regional level, national level, and it's completely different from one country to the other. It's like for the 3 partners we have in InDemand, we are usually using like a slight regional variations because we cannot apply exactly the same in the different regions. So if you have any question or any doubt, just let us know and we will try to clarify it. I mean, our aim is just to support regions to, let's say, to use the regional funds to better innovate within the regions or the local areas. So we are happy to welcome all the as much regions as possible, let's say. So yeah, happy to clarify anything.
Yeah. Paola, would you have any question?
No, actually. Well, thanks for your presentation, for the availability. As said before, we can maybe get in touch by email and set a dedicated call for my question.
Okay.
If it's okay for you. Thank you very much.
Cheers. I would have one question concerning the participants, if there are no any other questions. Idoia Gaminde is in the call. From where? Because I don't see this on the list of participants, just for clarification.
Hello, this is Idoia. Idoia, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay,
yes.
It's from the region of Navarra, from Spain.
Okay. Just for the records. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, thanks very much. Can we close the call, or are there any needs still, eager needs to clarify some details? If not, then I would like to thank our partners, Salah, Louis, Rafael, and Miriam, and all the participants who stayed with us. And as Miriam also said, even now after the webinar, if you need any help, if you have questions while filling in the form, please don't hesitate to drop us a line. We are available and we will respond to your queries. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck for the application.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.